welcome to today's episode on the Fashion Fables podcast. Today, I am welcoming Jill, boutique owner of Malibu Friday located in Rhode Island. Jill, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get started. If you could begin by just talking a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So, a little bit about myself is that I opened Malibu Friday Boutique about 4 months ago in Newport, Rhode Island. I just have always had the dream of opening my own boutique since I was like a little girl. Like my parents have memories of me saying I wanted my own store when I was really little. So yeah, I finally brought the dream to life and I went to the University of Rhode Island and got my bachelor's in fashion merchandising. And I worked as a buyer, I worked as a social media manager, as a general manager to a chain of boutiques. So it's really all I know. And like I live and breathe clothes and style, basically.
Awesome. Love that. And I came to visit your store in the summer, and I think it was like the first weekend you opened. And I've just seen how far you've come. You've had so many like new merchandise come in, and it's amazing to see your growth. So it's inspiring to kind of be able to have you on today.
Oh, I know, Olivia. I remember you so well. I remember when we met. I like remember the whole thing. You were so sweet. I think we talked for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Just about like, yeah, you told me about your podcast. We talked like about clothes and fashion and so much, I feel like, for a while. So that was, I know, I love that. I love that I'm here on your podcast now.
Yay. So what inspired you to open up your boutique? So like it just talk a little bit about the location, your aesthetic, and just the types of clothing you like to kind of bring in and sell.
Yeah, so what inspired me, I guess, is a few things. My love for style, for clothing, for fashion. It's obviously just, I when I did fashion merchandising for my degree in college, like it's something I always knew I wanted to do. And what also inspired me, I think, is like wanting to be a business owner. I've definitely always wanted to be my own boss in a way. So that also inspired me. Combining the two was just like the perfect storm for me, basically. And my boutique is in Newport, Rhode Island. If you've never been there, it's basically the cutest little beach town. They call it the city by the sea, and a lot of vacationers there. There are a lot of locals, but a lot of my customers are usually on vacation or visiting for the day. I think I have like a 10% return customer rate, which is actually pretty good, like more than I thought it would be. But I do have a lot of tourists come through and shop with me that way. And my store is definitely feminine for sure. It's feminine, trendy, yet classic, I would say. And it's like ever evolving. I already feel like it's evolved so much, and I feel like it's going to evolve with me as I age, but it's also going to evolve like with my customer too. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. The vibe, it's awesome that I can like speak on it because I've like went
Yeah.
and it's so funny because like I live in New Jersey and so it's like just random, but um yeah, it's definitely super girly, but it's also just like unique. Like when I was in there, I saw pieces that like I didn't necessarily see at like your typical like even like Urban Outfitters or something like that. It just I don't know, just the vibe is like it's just very it's like chic, I guess, because I think that you have like different colors and stuff like that. And the way you color coordinate it, I think makes people want to come in as well because it's like it's just nice to look at, and people like aesthetically pleasing things as well. So I think you do a really good job of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of
Yes.
course. And then like your "you look really pretty" like little sticker, it inspired me to like buy my own.
Yeah.
I bought one for my best
I
friend.
remember you told me you bought it too. I know. I definitely have like little kind of like girly fun things in the store, and I think like the vibe, like you were saying, the aesthetic and the vibe definitely is super important because like when people walk in the store, you want them to feel welcomed, and I want my customers to like resonate with my store. So like walk in and be like, oh, I love this. Like Wow, oh my gosh, I love yeah, like, that's, like, totally what I want, so to hear you say, like, you had that experience is, like, exactly, like, what I shoot for, basically.
Yeah, I loved it. And so, what is your personal fashion style? And like, do you have this in mind when ordering apparel for your shop or like any other items for the boutique? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think that a lot like, my personal style is definitely feminine, like I've been saying, like, um, I don't really like the word girly, but I would say, like, definitely feminine and sweet while also staying up to date with the trends. So I still say my like personal style is definitely trendy with like a hint of like staying classic as well. So like following trends, I definitely follow trends in the way like the market's moving. And I definitely put that in my own store as well. So I do have a lot of color. Like I personally don't wear a lot of black and like you're not going to see a lot of black in my store. Like you'll see some but not a ton.
Mhm.
But I've definitely like it's a small and you've been in my store too so you know it's kind of small. So it's curated definitely to be like a specific customer. I hope to maybe one day have like a bigger store where I can carry more things, but it's definitely curated. So it definitely is a specific customer. But at the same time, when it comes to buying, you really have to like pay attention to who's coming into your store. And like I was saying, I'm in like a vacation city. So now that kids went back to school and it's during the week, it's a lot slower. I do have more like older women vacationing, so I've had to like change up my buying a little bit in that and of course appeal to them in a way. So I've definitely carry items that I personally wouldn't wear, but I also carry a lot of items that I would, and I kind of just like follow trends and follow like what I'm selling. And like I can run reports on my POS system and I like weekly, and I can see like, okay, no, I'm selling sweaters, I'm selling ponchos. Okay, I have to order more ponchos. So I
Mhm.
definitely do think it is curated, but at the same time, I do have to follow like the market and who's walking in and buying as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's awesome that you can get those reports because you kind of want to be, I don't know, just getting feedback because sometimes you feel like, I don't know, as a podcaster too, like I could like relate, like you just want to make sure that what your followers and your buyers are seeing is what they want because sometimes it's like what you think they want, but then like you'll post like an Instagram poll or something and it'll be like a completely different result.
That's
Thing.
yes, that's exactly it. Like sometimes things I'll get in, like something I will personally love and be obsessed with, like will sell really slow. And then like something else that I was just like whatever about will sell really fast. And I'm like, do I even know what I'm doing? Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally can relate to that. It's so true. It's a really good to get feedback and to see like who your customer is and who they're evolving into and everything.
Yeah, but I think it's like good to do a mix, like a little bit of what you like, but then I'm sure like when your customers come in, you can kind of see their reactions when they see like a certain like sweater or something like that, and you'll be like, oh, like that's good to know because maybe like I can find different styles that are something similar. You know what I mean? So
Yes, exactly. Yes.
like trial and error and like kind of that interaction with your customers, I think it's really nice, and it's probably super rewarding like for them to compliment you and stuff like that because it means you know you're doing like a good job and it just makes you want to keep growing and stuff like that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what have you learned since opening up your shop, and do you think that you've had like some challenges along the way, or anything about that?
Yeah, I've definitely have had challenges, for sure, like many, as any like business owner probably can relate to. I would say one of my biggest challenges so far has been balancing my time for myself while also my business. And going off of that is like staying on top of every little aspect of my business since I do everything myself. There's like big things I'm always thinking about, and there's really small things I'm always thinking about, and everything is just as important to like keep the business operations going. So there's just a lot on my mind all the time, and it leaves really little room for like myself outside of my business. So that has definitely been probably like the biggest challenge and something I'm still learning how to handle.
Mhm.
Um, but it's all like a work in progress and it's all just like trial and error and learning. Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely, and it would kinda be, like not, like, weird, but, like, interesting if you didn't have any challenges because, like, no matter what you're doing, I feel like there are always challenges, especially, like, being a new business owner, like, you're just trying to get the hang of everything. You're just trying to see, like, what works best for your location and stuff like that, and, like, honestly, you're in, like, a perfect location. Like, I absolutely love it because there's not only, like, your shop, you know what I mean? There's, like, cute cafes,
Mhm.
stuff like that, and it makes people more, like, inclined to wanna, like, grab a coffee and then, like, come shop, you know what I mean? Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and, like, you do, like, a really great job of advertising and stuff like that, and I think that having an Instagram and then you have, like, an online boutique too. I think all that, like, comes together and, like, you probably don't realize it as much as, like, others do, but, like, people go online and maybe they're in, like, the area you're in, and they're like, "Oh my god, well, let me stop in because it's so close to me." You know what I mean? So just, like, all the little things, like, add up, and I'm sure, like, you're still figuring it out, but, like, I'm still figuring out things about, like, my podcast too, and I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, always, like but it's, like, fun, like, if it was, like, everyone had it all figured out, then it'd kinda be boring, you know what I mean? Because 'Cause there'd be nothing, like, work on or, like, a goal to have, so, I think
Totally.
a
Yes.
question that, like, everyone maybe like, get you thinking or something like that.
Yeah, totally. It yeah, the challenges and figuring everything out, you learn a lot, and that's when, like, you grow the most, so definitely agree with that.
So, what is the most rewarding part about being a store owner, and what kind of opportunities has it opened up for you?
I think that the most rewarding part of it, it's I we kinda touched on it earlier, but it's definitely when people resonate with my brand and they see it as its own entity and its own thing, like, that is, like I can't even explain, like, when I overhear people talking about Malibu Friday as, like, a thing, like, that, like, warms my heart. It's like seeing a dream basically come to life and having people enjoy it and being, like, a small part of people's lives and their days, is definitely the most rewarding part, and it makes it all worth it for sure.
'Cause I'm sure, like, when you hear the name of your store, you're like, "Oh, that's me," like,
Yeah.
like, it's just exciting, I know, and part of the reason why, like, I feel like we talked for a while is because I think I did mention that eventually, like, I do wanna, like, have an endeavor like yours, something like that, like a boutique or something, and so you were kinda just giving me advice, and it was just exciting even to, like, hear, and it was just I'm sure in the beginning, it was, like, the most exciting to be like, "This is actually mine,"
Mhm.
and then,
Mhm.
like, to, like, think about all the opportunities and, like, 'cause you never know what opportunities gonna come along the way, and so, yeah, I just thought it was, like, so fun,
Yes, I know. I totally, like, see myself eventually, like, once I have more experience under my belt, doing something like helping women become business owners. That's, like, something I'm super passionate about. Like, we shouldn't leave it all to the men. We should be business owners too, us women. So, like, I love that you see yourself maybe, doing something like this too, because I just think you would be great at it, and I think it's just such a great thing, um, for us to do, and I definitely think that as far as opportunities for myself, I mean, just, like, making growing personally through the whole experience has been really great, and I think that since I work with the public, I get to meet so many amazing people and make connections with them. That's an opportunity within itself, and am so thankful for it, and I love it.
Oh, good, I know. I also, like, love talking to people and stuff like that because I feel
Mhm.
like I learned something from literally anybody, like and, like, I love it because it kinda just makes me have, like, an open mind and wanna seek new experiences and stuff like that, um and so, yeah, I definitely think you would also be great at, like, doing something like a mentoring kinda thing, because there's probably more people than you think that wanna do that, but just are afraid to take that next step or, like, don't know what that jump will look like, and so I think that would kind of even expand, like, your following and stuff like that too, so, yeah, I think there's always opportunities that you probably don't even realize, end up working out.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
agree.
so this kind of leads into it, but advice for anyone looking to begin an endeavor or become a business owner like you, just what best tips would you share? Maybe just kind of like your best, I guess, 3 or 4, whatever you would say.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, first is obviously practical advice, but make a plan. Um, it doesn't really matter what type of business you're starting, but have a really solid business plan and know what you want your brand to be, who you want your customer to be, how much money you can only spend, like a budget, a plan. And also, I made like multiple vision boards when I was starting to like really get serious about opening my store. And I feel like that really helped me narrow down like what I wanted to do and what I wanted my store to look like and who I wanted my customer to be. So definitely like spending time making a plan, I think is actually really valuable and really important. And I think that this is like pretty corny, but like following your heart is like really important when you're starting a business, especially something you're super passionate about, because I had people's advice and opinions trying to help me, but I noticed that I had like the best success when I really stayed true to like my own personal feelings and passions for my business, and it just always led me down the best path when I like stayed true to my own vision and my own heart. And I think that's like really, really important. And then I would say like the last um part of the advice is that like as a business owner, because I learned this true and true, and I'm still learning it every day, is that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I'm sure you can relate to Olivia with your podcast and everything you're working on, but you're going to have days and weeks when you're going to have such a high and you're going to feel on top of the world and you're going to feel like you're doing amazing and people love what you're doing and it couldn't be going any better. And then you're going to have days and weeks when you're going to feel like a failure, basically. And you have to be able to balance out the highs and lows and remember why you started and like keep on going and not getting too attached to the highs and not letting the lows get to you, but like remaining balanced in everything is, I think, super important, especially starting out as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, definitely that's super true. And sometimes like I don't realize that like not every like post is gonna do good. Not every episode's gonna get like the same amount of downloads and stuff like that. And it kind of only just makes me want to keep going because I'm like, okay, well, like I was saying, like if everything was perfect, it'd kind of just be like monotonous and like the same thing. So, not that I like having like up like lows and highs and like weird like in betweens, but also at the same time, it's kind of like okay, well, like I kind of take the feeling from or take what I was doing when things were going really well with my podcast, and then I kind of am like, okay, well, how can I incorporate this right now when it's not doing the best? You know what I mean? But I think like the biggest thing, like you were saying, is like to never give up, because if you like, it's not a good enough reason to give up just because you're having like a bad week or something like that. And I also think that with the advice thing, I think it's like awesome to go for advice from people because, like I don't know everything, you don't know everything, and we're all trying to like kind of learn. But also, like, there's a certain point where like you don't need someone's advice anymore. You kind of just need to, you kind of get all the information, but then you make the decision, like the final decision. And I kind of think that's what's going to make you the most happy because, like, no,
Mhm.
someone could say something to you, but it's not them, it's you. You know what I mean? So, I think kind of like asking for advice, but then at the end of the day, being strong enough to kind of make your own decision and like running with it no matter who
Yeah,
supports you and like whatever. So,
I think that is exactly what I kind of was thinking when exactly what I meant was that like
yeah.
you really have to stay true to your own vision and kind of silence the noise sometimes and like stay true to your heart and stay true to what you think your brand is and what you want for yourself and for your business. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we agree because I think it's like so important. And I feel like people sometimes are too stuck up on like, oh, what is someone gonna think of this? Like,
Yeah.
it's good
But
enough.
that's so true. That's so true. It's not caring what people think is another piece of advice I would give anybody who's again an entrepreneur, like a business owner of any, if you're putting yourself out there and it can be scary and you're faced with criticism. Not every single person who walks into my store loves it. and that's something too, like at first. And I was like, oh my God, like why doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it, you just have to like stick to your vision, and the customers will come or the fans will come or whatever type of business you have. But as long as you stay true to yourself and follow your heart, I think that it will usually lead you where you need to be.
Exactly, and I think not taking it personal either, because that could
Mhm.
really mess with, like, your brain and stuff like that. You're like, "Well, I'm trying my hardest," but, like, in life, not everyone likes everyone else, not every you know what I mean? Like, everyone is
Yeah,
different, and so, like, it's almost a good thing to kind of feed out, like, who is your true supporter and who's not, because you can kind of more curate it towards the people who do like it, you know what I mean? And then get like your regulars and stuff like that. So I think everything
exactly.
works out in the end. And sometimes like I'm always super hard on myself. I think it's that like perfectionist personality where you want to be your best, look your best in every aspect, but sometimes like you just have to give yourself credit and just always be true to yourself, like we've been saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, do you feel that it takes a certain type of person to be a business owner? Or maybe just talk a little bit about your day to day, like to dos, what you do, your opening, closing times, and then what keeps motivating you to persist and just keep building your dream of your boutique.
That's a good question. I don't really, to be 100% honest with you, I don't really know if my personality is the best personality to be a business owner, which is really funny. But
Yeah.
so, like, part of me is leaning towards like, no, I think anyone can do it as long as they have the drive to want to do it and the persistence to want to keep doing it. And the reason I say that my personality isn't probably the best is because I am like sensitive, and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just yeah, like a lot of things like that, and you face a lot of rejection and you face a lot of challenges like we were saying. And I've definitely like grown through the whole situation, but I think anybody can be a business owner. I just think you have to be really hardworking. You have to be ready to hustle because I that when I was telling you even scheduling this, I work every single day on my feet. I've taken like 2 days off since I've opened over 4 months ago. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of work, and I don't think everybody could do it because they just wouldn't want to, I guess.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I open in the summer, I opened at 10. Right now I open at 11 and I close at 6 basically every day. Sunday I shorten my hours a little bit, but in my days basically I in the morning I always ship out online orders. So before I even get into work, I'm packaging orders and I'm getting them ready and I'm shipping them out. So before 11 a.m. And when I get into my store, get like the store open and ready to go with like the lights on and the music and everything like that.
Mhm.
I always like check my email, see what shipments are getting shipped. All throughout the day, I'm buying. So I'm like looking for new clothes to buy. So I do that periodically all day long when I have free time. And then I have customers. I keep a track of online orders in case I sell things. I'm dealing with customer service. I'm posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm getting in new inventory usually every day during the week. So I unpack that, I hang that, I tag that on myself, and then I merchandise it throughout the day too. So like putting it out on the racks, redoing table displays, redoing mannequins, keeping the store looking like new and fresh, and pretty so that when people walk in, they love the way it looks. And just all kind of day to day things like that and big picture things. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm always buying. And then basically when I leave work around 6:30, I'll come home, I'll eat dinner, and then I'm on my computer like entering in products all night. I'm packing up online orders again. I'm um entering everything in my system. I'm paying for my shipments. I'm like going over my credit card bills. Like, so basically the fun never stops. But yeah, that's what like a normal day looks like.
Yeah, no, I could tell it's definitely a lot. And so it definitely I don't think it takes I mean, anyone can do anything they want, obviously, but
Yes, Exactly.
I think it takes like a certain, not like look wise or anything like that. I just think it takes a certain drive and like dedication because things can get tiring, things can get monotonous, like, oh, I don't want to do this, you know what I mean? But I think, like, you started it for a reason, you know what I mean? Like, that's with anything, and so if you wanna be successful, you kinda just gotta keep at it no matter, you know what I mean, how tired you are and stuff like that, because that's how you're gonna grow and stuff like that, and people will see how hard you're working too and stuff like that. I'm sure sometimes you feel like you're burnt out and stuff like that, and it might be hard, but, um I think that I love seeing, like, your content and basically just
Oh,
to keep, like, doing what you're doing because it's awesome, and I just you're really like, you stay, really good with, like, posting on social media too and, like, your polls and, like, all that stuff, and you always post kind of the new products that get in, and it kinda just gets people excited. It gets me excited, but
oh, good.
um I know it seems like it's a lot, but um, I'm proud of all you're doing, and I think it's awesome what you're doing. Not everyone's brave enough to open their own store. You know what I mean? Especially you're super young, and it's just inspiring, and I'm sure you inspire other people too.
Oh, thank you.
Course. And then finally, Jill, what are some ways to kind of get in contact with you or your store for anyone kind of interested in shopping or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm on Google. You can find me there. Like if you come and visit Newport, you'll obviously have to come shop at my store, but I'm also on Instagram. It's at Shop Malibu Friday. Um, and my website is shopmalibufriday.com. Yeah, if anyone even has any questions about anything, they can always like DM me on Instagram. I'm always willing to help out with anything. Like if anyone had any questions about any further about like opening a boutique or anything like that. Yeah, that's definitely how you can find me.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, Jill is super, like, good with answering. I'll literally just react to her little story, and she likes it, like, super fast, so so
Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you so much for joining me. I had so much fun chatting.
Thank you for having me. I had fun too.